Changing gears now, and summer has well and truly arrived, and so has the season of outdoor entertaining, long evenings spent with loved ones around meals featuring fresh produce. But often when the mercury rises, so does laziness. We don't usually want to spend hours in a hot kitchen preparing food. So what kinds of things can we make that don't involve much effort, particularly desserts, which we want to keep light in such heavy heat? We're going to be talking about this in our Entre Nous segment with Amanda Bankert, who's the owner and pastry chef at Boneshaker Donuts in Paris. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
One summer cake that comes to mind is the Clafuti, which is very popular here in France. I see that you're kind enough to bring one in. That recipe you have in your cookbook, which is called Voilà Vegan. Tell us more then about the Clafuti. Where does it come from, and what is it?
So Clafuti is one of my absolute favorite French summertime desserts. It originated in sort of like central southern part of France, but now you can find it everywhere. It's usually made with like a custard base and cherries traditionally, although you can do it with any kind of stone fruit, but the traditional one is made with cherries, which is what I brought in today. And so, yeah.
And it is kind of seen as this kind of grandma, something very fondly remembered, you know.
It is, yes. It's kind of like a rustic grandma dessert, very easy to put together, as you said. So you essentially, in the traditional recipe, it's flour, a little bit of flour, eggs, milk, sugar, and you just pour it into a buttered dish, add your fruit, and bake it for about half an hour.
And as you say, it doesn't have to be cherries, as in your recipe. It can be any stone fruits. Perfect opportunity to make that summer produce shine.
Exactly. Yeah, you can use peaches. I mean, some people do like figs or apples. So any kind of like summer fruit is going to work for you there.
And I don't know if this is a controversial topic, but I've read that one French pastry chef said that when he uses cherries, he adds them with the stems and the stones and all. What's your take on that?
So that's actually the traditional way to do it. So originally the pits would have been left in, and this was said to give a little bit of an almond taste, although I take them out and just add a little bit of almond extract to get the same sort of effect. But actually, traditionally, that is how they were. How Clafuti was made.
Interesting. And you're here. We have to talk about donuts. Perhaps they're not exactly what I would think of when we talk about summer desserts, but I have a feeling, based on what you've brought in, that you're going to change my mind.
I hope so. So yeah, we have at Boneshaker, we have our summer flavors that are out. So we as well use a lot of like stone fruits in summer. So we have or summer fruits. We have blueberries here. We have a coconut and lemon curd. This is made with a fresh raspberry puree, and this one's made with strawberries. So we really try and use a lot of the seasonal fruits and put those into our donuts. So I would say they're definitely something that can be eaten in summer.
Delicious. Well, I might take you up on that. Going back to your cookbook, and now it features vegan recipes.
Yes.
Do you think that a move towards plant-based eating is happening more generally? And what about in France, where recipes featuring butter and cream feature so heavily?
Yeah, I think worldwide that's a change that's being made. So the Clafuti that I brought in today, since it's from the book, obviously is plant-based. And I think that nowadays as well, it's become a lot easier to recreate sort of traditional versions of things, but using plant-based ingredients. So you wouldn't know it, but this one uses silken tofu. So there's a lot of different tricks that you can use. I think when baking vegan or even just eating plant-based, what you're looking to recreate is texture and flavor. And nowadays we have sort of gotten to a point where it's pretty easy to do that. So you know, I would say that I'm seeing more and more of it here, and even in France, in the land of butter and dairy, there's a lot of plant-based stuff that's becoming available.
So what kinds of recipes in your book can we see in the way of summer desserts?
So, well, we have the Clafuti here. We do a lot of, it depends on what you sort of define as a summer dessert, but we have like blueberry muffins. There's things with different types of fresh fruits, and creme brulee, which maybe isn't like traditionally for summer, but I feel like I think this is probably, and this is in the head note of the book, I sort of refer to it as my like quintessential summer dish. So otherwise, I would say there's things with ice cream.
And I think, speaking personally, I might have shied away from vegan cooking or vegan eating in the past because I wasn't quite sure of obscure ingredients, where to find them. Maybe they were expensive. Is that something that isn't as hard as it seems as well?
No, definitely not. And I think that's a really common sort of misconception. Nowadays, you can find most ingredients in your local supermarket. In fact, you can find all ingredients at your local supermarket. I tested all of the recipes here in my kitchen, buying things from my local grocery store. So I would say, we're not using kinds of crazy xanthan gums and sort of stabilizers and things like that. You can make everything with stuff that you can buy locally and in France.
All right, Amanda Bankert, thank you very much for coming in
Thanks for
and
having
speaking
me.
to us about summer desserts and donuts, of course. And for our viewers, that is your cookbook, Voila Vegan, that they can find plenty of beautiful vegan recipes. Thank you very much. And for our viewers who want to check out any other previous Entre Nous shows, you can go to our website at france24.com. That wraps up this edition, but there is more news and programs coming up next on France 24.